Hey YouTube. I've been meaning to get to my time in the sand with the Army on here, and decided now is the time to get started. This one will not be all that exciting. This is basically, I'm going to start at the beginning. I joined the Army in May of 2001, and I turned 27 years old at basic training. So I was kind of an old private. Now I'm an old specialist, but actually I'm not in the military anymore, really. But I got I got a I don't even know what to say. Alright. September 11th happened while I was at AIT, which is Advanced Individual Training. That's where you get your military job. I mean, everybody's job in the military is to carry a rifle, but they specialize you. And while I was at AIT, that happened. And it was a weird day. We're not allowed a lot of outside news or press or media while we're basic in AIT. All I saw of it was a couple paper clippings and people standing in the streets waving American flags over there, cheering about the people that died over here. That's all that we saw. And naturally, our response was anger. We were ready to go over there and make these people pay for cheering about our American brothers and sisters dying. And I knew it would happen eventually, but I wasn't sure when it would happen. I got home in October from basic and AIT, and started going to drill. And I was talking to other soldiers about it, and a friend of mine who worked for a colonel here in the area we live told him that he saw my unit on the list and that we'd be going soon. I let my buddies know that, and sure enough, right around the time of my anniversary, which is coming up again, January 8th, I got the phone call that we were on alert. And shortly after that, I got the next phone call that we'd been given orders to mobilize. We immediately started going down to the unit to get stuff packed up. We didn't have much gear, really. We were a new unit. We were not 100% strength, and we had all these people from California coming to our unit to fill holes in our personnel. And we were adjusting to them. We were adjusting the idea of leaving. We were adjusting to all sorts of things. I mean, this is what we raised our right hand to do, and we were excited. I mean, we were still very pissed off and ready to go over there and do some payback. We were told we were going to Fort Lewis for 10 days to get prepared to go over to Turkey. As you know, Turkey voted yes then no then yes and no about us being allowed to go into Iraq through Turkey, so that caused a little bit of delay, as well as the fact that we were a new unit and didn't have any equipment or real training besides basic, as far as how we could work together as a unit, because it was a new unit. Our 10 days at Fort Lewis turned into 114 days at Fort Lewis. And those days were extremely demoralizing to the unit. The excitement was gone. When those 114 days were done, we wanted to go home. The units around us were given much more freedom than we were given, and our leadership did not allow us these freedoms as far as seeing family and whatnot. We got to see family some, but it was 54 days before we had an evening off, and I'm not, before we had an evening off, and the soldiers were allowed to go out and get loose and get their drink on and all this other stuff. I mean, it was going on, but it wasn't allowed. And the people around us are all, drinking openly where they're at because they were allowed to do it, and we were not. There was even one time they told our families that they could come visit us, and then after they got there on Friday, they told us we would not be released until Saturday night to see our families. So we had adults sneaking out of their beds and putting sleeping bags in their beds so they could go see their wives and their husbands and their girlfriends and their moms and their dads, before they possibly went to Iraq and got killed. And, the way we were treated, it was ridiculous. And it really, really, really demoralized us. We weren't really doing any real training. They were constantly giving us this stupid book called a Common Task Manual. And, there's only so many tasks in these books, and we're going over them hours a day, daily, and it just became mundane and pathetic. And, we just didn't really care anymore. We didn't really care anymore. And finally, the day came that we were to get on an airplane and head over there. The rumors were there over and over again that today was the day, or tomorrow's the day, or next week's the day, or, and finally that day came. We got activated in January. January 19th was my official activation day. And we went to Fort Lewis for 114 days, and then, I think it was 114 days anyways, and then May, we got on a plane and flew to Kuwait. We stopped in New Jersey on the way there, and then had the long flight over. Landed in Rome. I was not allowed off the airplane in Rome. I stood outside on the, wheels that they roll up with the staircase. I stood out there and smoked a cigarette because I always said if I got deployed I'd start smoking again. So I did, and I actually quit using tobacco again while I was in Iraq. But at this time I was smoking. I'm going to war, might as well have some nicotine. So all I got to see of Rome was what I could see from the side of the plane, because they wouldn't let us off the plane. And then we refueled and reloaded all the food and stuff and flew on over to Kuwait. We land on Kuwait. We've got our gear. Our Kevlars, our rifles. We've got all this on the plane. It was a commercial plane, and the soldiers were the only ones on this plane. So the people working the flight were civilians. They were regular airline people, and they were very, very good. I really appreciated the level of service that they provided us on the flight over, because it was a long flight. It's like 24 hours to travel over there. And so we get in Kuwait, and they get on the plane, and they're telling us that, okay, we're going to get off the plane, we're going to get on these buses, and we got to have the windows closed, and people can see us from the highway and whatnot, and we need to move quickly, and they're telling us all this stuff, and you have no idea what's going on, and it's kind of intimidating. I don't know what the look was in my eyes, but I saw that look in people's eyes later, when you've been in the war zone for a while and you get used to it, because amazingly enough, you get used to it. It becomes normal to be in a war zone. But and then you see the people that are new there, and they talk about it in the movies, but in the movies they can't really. You look scared. And then you start to just look, I don't know, different. But so they take us to a tent in Kuwait, and it's hot. We just left Washington. They took us from Arizona to Washington for 4 months to get used to the cold before they sent us to the desert. So now we're in Kuwait, and it's the end of May, and it's hot. And luckily we go into an air-conditioned tent. We're thinking, hey, this ain't going to be so bad. We're in there for a couple hours, 2, 3, if that, kind of hard to remember. This is, May of 2003 that I'm talking about. And I've got a memory issue that I might get into one day. So then they tell us, okay, it's time to move. We get on a bus. We're not staying here. So we're like, okay. So we get on this bus, and they pull the curtains, and we have Kuwaitis, I assume, driving these buses. Old, funky-looking passenger buses, Greyhound meets, I don't know, it was, the buses were comfortable, but weird and kind of smelly. But we ride these buses, and they take us to Camp Victory, Kuwait. They throw us in another tent, and these tents have no air conditioning. So we're like, oh, maybe this isn't going to be as great as we thought it was. And we had no cots either, so we're sleeping on the ground with, all these bugs. I mean, you should see these spiders. And they moved quick, dude. But we're sleeping on the ground with these bugs in our sleeping bags, or on our sleeping bags. It was too hot to get in the sleeping bags. And just having a fun time getting used to the heat. That first day, we were all just laid out. Just totally unable to move, pretty much, except just lay there and rest and try to get used to this heat, drink water like a madman. The water was nasty. They gave us this bottled water. If you ever drink stuff, if someone ever gives you a bottle that says Baraka, don't drink it. Do not drink it. I mean, you're going to because you're thirsty, but it's the worst water you ever had in your life. They gave us all these different bottles, and whenever Baraka came, we tried not to use it for anything except showering because it wasn't worth using it for anything but that. Yeah, we showered with bottled water. But we were in Kuwait for a little while. I got a cell phone while I was there and called my wife from Kuwait with this cell phone for a while. The cell phone wasn't going to work when I went to Iraq, but I bought it and sold it to somebody else. And actually, no, I took it to Iraq hoping that, we would someday get cell service, but never did. We were there for 3 weeks, I think. And, when we got there, they didn't know what to do with us. I mean, this story was what we were constantly hearing. When we got to Fort Lewis, Washington, they were like, who are you? Why are you here? You're not on any list we see. And, and then when we get to Kuwait, they're like, who are you? Why are you here? You're not supposed to be here. But we sent a convoy north to find us a mission because we didn't have a mission. And if you're over there for, well, at least the rumor was anyways, I don't know if this is official, if you're over there for so long without a mission, they're going to send you home. And I was like, I've been gone for 5 months already. I've got my t-shirt. I can go home. I don't care anymore. Because they were talking that we'd be gone for 6 months when we left. And it's already been 5 months. And now that we're there, our clock finally starts ticking. So the 5 months prior to that didn't count. So now our days in theater are finally counting. And, no big deal if we knew all this to begin with. All these things that happened that they didn't properly explain would have really helped with the morale. But I guess it's a learning experience. A lot of these people had never taken soldiers to war before, and I mean, I guess I should probably be a little more sympathetic because I wouldn't have wanted the job of leading these soldiers into battle or Iraq or whatever. And I don't know, but we've been there for 3 weeks. It's hot, insane dust. I mean, you look around. I mean, it's Tatooine, dude. I mean, it's just sand dunes everywhere. That's what Kuwait was. Kuwait was sand. And it came time for us to head north. And that's pretty much all I'm going to say now. I'm going to talk briefly in my next video about what they told us to expect on the drive north, what we might have to deal with on the drive north, and then I'll talk about the drive north. So might not be the next video I make, but it'll be the next Iraq video I make, and I'll tag the Iraq videos Iraq, and whatever it's about. So thanks for your time, and this one was fairly easy because I didn't really get into anything, but bear with me. Thanks for listening.